Welcome back to Between the Lines. My name is Mason, and in this series, we're previewing each NFL division, giving you the win totals for each team and our pick to win the division. If you missed last video, we previewed the NFC East. Me and my buddy Ralph over at MyBookie. He once again will be on with us today when we preview the NFC West. Look, I'm fired up for the NFL season. We're right around the corner. So without further ado, let's get into it. Ralph, how's it going today? How's it going, my friend?
It is going well. We could get to talk about a division, which I think is not going to be a fun division to watch because I think there's one dominating team. But I guess we need to still talk about this team because I think there's value in some of these total season wins with some of these teams.
100%. And you say there's one dominating team. And what happens if I told you that is not the team that just won the Super Bowl last year, ladies and gentlemen? Let's get right into it. Let's talk about that dominating team. Ralph, you could start first. The Rams are sitting at 11.5 over under. I think this consensus, in terms of on paper, this team is off the charts. One of the best or the best team in football. Talk to me, Ralph.
Yeah, we're not even talking about how they were 7-1 at home last year. And now they're bringing defense to this team. LA is going to be a tough out. There's only one way to bet this. If you want to fade him, like maybe you think Stafford is going to be healthy or their defense is going to have injuries, then of course there's value on the under. But I just don't see that happening. I think this is Stafford maybe last year. I think they win it all maybe. I got to take I think 12 wins again. I think 12-5 for the Rams. So I'm going to take the over at 11.5 just because of that D, not because of the O. It's because of the D, that defense.
No, 100%, Ralph. I agree with you. This team has Super Bowl written all over it. Potentially Matt Stafford's last year. You go out and you get Myles Garrett, the best defensive player in football, right? One of the best defensive players ever. Then you bring in a guy that no one's really talking about, Trent McDuffie.
Yep.
In the playoffs, they had some of their issues stemmed in that secondary. Now you go get a guy like McDuffie and you address some of those issues. Look, this is the Rams year. I think 12-5 is very doable. Just give me the over 11.5. This team is going to be tough to beat. And like you said, 7-1 at home. I don't see many people walking in there and winning there this year. That's for sure. Ralph, let's talk about the team that just won the Super Bowl last year. The Seattle Seahawks. 10.5. And let me say, these Seahawks and Rams, they had some great football games last year. Off the top of my head, I remember the one. It went to overtime, correct? And the Seahawks ended up winning that one. They were down like 16 in the fourth quarter. Absolute thriller that game was. Look, I'm really heavy on the Seahawks this year that they're going to have a little downfall. I'm not sold on the Seahawks this year for multiple reasons. You lose Kenneth Walker. Okay, yes, he's replaceable, but Zach Charbonnet is he's glass. This dude gets injured a lot, right? And their running back too is Jadarian Price. Nothing special. On top of that, you lose your offensive coordinator in Clint Kubiak. Okay, and once again, you bring in a guy who's never called plays before. This is huge. I keep mentioning it for multiple teams. I talked about the Eagles. It's a new scheme that Sam Darnold, who once again is notorious for only being successful when he's in a good system. Okay, so now he has to relearn a new system under a guy who was a tight ends coach, Brian Fleury. He was a tight ends coach in San Fran. You also lose some defensive guys like Tariq Woolen, Boy Mafe. No one crazy, but this defense is what really got them to the Super Bowl. And I do still think this defense will be nasty, by the way, because Mike Macdonald is a great defensive coach. But I just expect this offense to take a little downhill slide this year. So I'm going with the under 10.5. I don't know if you agree with me here. Talk to me.
I do agree with you because you mentioned the amount of people they lost after the Super Bowl. But raise your hand last year for all the viewers, and I mean the millions of viewers who had them winning 14 games last year. I didn't. Who had them going 8-1 on the road last year? I didn't. Who had them going 9-3 in the conference last year? I didn't. but that was last year. And one thing I want to tell the bettors and all that, I know the bosses are probably going to get mad and probably going to yell at me. But if you're looking to fade a team, most of the odds makers, including myself, are putting a little bit extra oomph on the Seattle Seahawks numbers because they're the Super Bowl champs, because they're a fan favorite, because the people love the story of Sam Darnold. So you might be getting a great number if you want to fade them. So look at the fade number on that, especially on total season wins. I think they're an under team. I don't see them getting 11 wins. I think they go 10-7 around that. I'd like the under in the Seahawks.
No, 100%. I mean, you hit the nail on the head there. Teams that are winning the Super Bowl are obviously going to be priced a little higher the following season. So when you look at the team and there's an option to fade them, why wouldn't you? You know what I mean? I like your thinking there. Let's move to the team that's possibly going to be one of the worst teams in recent history, in my opinion, in terms of their record, possibly. The Arizona Cardinals are sitting at 3.5, and they're over on their win total here. Look, I like Mike LaFleur, right? I mean, he's a great offensive mind, but you're not working with anything. I mean, Jacoby Brissett is their starting QB. Marvin Harrison is their wide receiver one. Ralph, have you seen that footage of Marvin Harrison in training camp? I mean, that's another story. And then you look at the defense, and it's young. It's not going to be any good. And then you look at their schedule, and you think, how do they beat? They're not going to beat either like these three teams in the division. Not once, I don't think. I like the under 3.5 here. I know it's tough when you're looking at a number like 3.5 and you want to go under, but just looking at their schedule, I don't see 4 wins.
Over at my bookie for the past, I think, month and a half, we've been teeter-tottering. You know, the old, back in the schoolyard, back in the day, one side's on the other side and you go back and forth. That's how we've been looking at the Cardinals, because some weeks we have 4.5 and juice down to minus 180. And then some weeks we move it back to 3.5. That's telling me that we do have some over money coming in on 3.5. I don't know who those bettors are. I think maybe just have money to burn. If you do, call me. But I don't see 4 wins coming us. They went 3-14 last year. They're gonna go 3-14 again this year. I don't see 4 wins. You said it. This could be one of the worst NFL teams we've seen in a very, very long time.
100%. 100%. So let's move to the last team in the division, Ralph. A team that, in my opinion, has a couple question marks here, per usual, to be quite honest here. And I think it starts at the quarterback position. Brock Purdy didn't have his best season last year. To me, the Niners go as far as Brock Purdy takes them. And if they could stay healthy, because that defense was surprisingly decent for how many bodies they had banged up last year. And now they bring in a defensive coordinator because they lost Robert Saleh. They bring in Raheem Morris, who in terms of a coordinator position, he is a great defensive coordinator. Not a great head coach, but a great defensive coordinator. So I like this defense this year. And they bring in Mike Evans for another weapon for Purdy on offense. It's one of those things where Purdy has all the weapons. It's just, like I said, they go as far as he takes them.
He does have the weapons. I'll give you that. His health is what is 100%, because he can't stay healthy. And when he's in, I think the defense knows what he's going to do. Because one of the best bets when he is in is, will Brock Purdy throw an interception? There's a reason why it's juiced really high, because he does some very dumb throws. We've seen it, and we've seen the last couple of years. And I'm tired of it. I can't believe they won 12 games last year with as many injuries that they had last year. But that was last year, and I think they're going to take a small step backwards. They had the headache of Ayuk. They have health issues right now. In training camp, they have health issues. And if they have health issues in training camp, I want nothing to do with that right now. I think they go 10 wins. I still think they hit double digits, because someone has to win games in this division, because it's not Arizona that we talked about earlier. So I do like the 49ers going 10-7, but I'm going to take the under, and I don't care if the juice is minus 150.
100%. I'm going to be on the under 10.5 as well. I do think this team could get 10 wins. You said something that I want to point out here. You said, how did this team get 12 wins last season? One answer: coaching. This
Well,
just
yeah,
shows you. I mean, Kyle Shanahan is a phenomenal coach. I've preached that multiple times myself, former OC for the Falcons. I mean, but look, I always say this. If Brock Purdy was in any other system, I'm not sure if that dude would be a starting quarterback. You
no,
may disagree with me, but he wouldn't.
I agree with you.
So, I mean, that's the bottom line
I'm going to
here.
burn a lot of bridges. I think Tom Brady, the reason why he's Tom Brady, because the system he was in.
See, I agree with you on that, but to an extent, I mean, that may piss a lot of the viewers off that
I'm
are
not saying he's a
Patriots.
bad quarterback. He's probably the GOAT. But sometimes if you want to be the best, look at Michael Jordan, the triangle. What would he be if he didn't run the triangle for so many years for the Bulls? We don't know what he would have been. It's because sometimes you play your best because you like the system you are playing.
I think that's a great point. I think that's a great point. So, look, I think the answer is obvious, but who's the best bet to win the division, Ralph?
Getting anything under minus 120 for the Rams to win a division, I say you do it. Yes, it's a minus. Yes, most of my plays have been plus money, but this could be the best team in football. This could be right there. If you look at the Rams on paper, it's almost like you're reading a Dodgers lineup on what they have on defense and stuff like that. Their defense is so stacked. Give me the Rams. I would be blown away if they don't win this division. When they're healthy, of course.
I agree. When they're healthy, that's a great point. That's what I'm saying. This to me seems. I hate using the word free in betting, but this seems pretty free. Anything under there's a reason they are minus 107 to win the division. You know, like you said, great analogy. They are like the Dodgers of football. So give me the Rams to win the division as well. This team's going to be dominant this year, for sure, for sure. Well, that's a wrap on the NFC West, ladies and gentlemen. The Rams are going to be a problem this year. I think we can all agree on that. But look, stay tuned for our next video where we will be previewing the NFC North, the final division in the NFC that we haven't previewed yet. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe. Stay tuned for next video. See you then.